What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at the Spring Cup. Once again, we have a submission here from Cheeks for You, and he's taking a look at Sunflora, Lapras, and Pelipper. Now what he was curious about is Sunflora any good, and will it ever have play in the future of GBL? My personal answer right off the bat, before we even get into this video, is no. This thing is really glassy. It has a pretty mediocre fast move in Bullet Seed, and its charge moves are all really expensive. So it would kind of need to be completely reworked to be viable, and it would need kind of a ridiculous moveset because it's so glassy. But he is pairing it with a Lapras safe swap and a Pelipper in the back. Actually, I'm not sure which is the safe swap, but I'm assuming it's Lapras. Lapras we know is super strong in the Open Great League, also super strong in the Spring Cup. So without further ado, let's hop into some battles. I was lucky enough that he actually edited these for me. They were already sped up and everything. He didn't do any of the like cuts or transitions, so the like searching for games part might take a little bit longer than normal, but please bear with me. It shouldn't be too much longer. That being said, we have a Decidueye in the first match. Now this is not a great lead, but it kind of core breaks our back line. This is only a Spirit Shackle, but look at how much these Astonishes are already doing. It does drop our defense, and Sunflora is already in the yellow, and we lose a CMP tie. Coming in now with our hard answer, and our opponent is ABA Grass. So full sending the Hurricane here, may as well try and grab that shield or knock it out, and we get the KO. That is absolutely massive. What's in the back? A Jellicent. Now this is tough because we have to make it to another Hurricane, but we're baiting with the Weather Ball, and our opponent is not bold enough to call that bait, and now they're just going to go for the knockout. We're actually shielding this up. It is probably just a Surf, but probably thinking we can outpace here and baiting again, and it looked like that might have been a CMP tie. I did not see a Hex Sneak, and it is. So at this point we should just let this go, and we are. Are we going to come in with a Lapras, or are we going to come in with the Sunflora is the question. We're coming back in with the Sunflora. They actually give up switch into their Decidueye, and we're going to come in with our Lapras. We are going to shield a Frenzy Plant. That's a huge shield, but unfortunately all of our charge moves are resisted here. Our opponent does get to a Shadow Ball before able to get to a Sparkling Aria, but now we can start connecting with these Sparkling Arias. Sparkling Aria number 1 puts them pretty low. Sparkling Aria number 2, actually we lose CMP. Is this a Shadow Ball? It's just a Surf, and that means we can survive that charge move. Lapras has very nice bulk on it, and Sparkling Aria is enough to KO the Jellicent, and we're able to take that first win. Alright, let's see how long this queue is for the next battle. I'm used to the queues in like the 2700 range, and they're bad right now, especially at the end of the Spring Cup. I don't think anyone is playing this cup. It's bad. Pretty nice lead in the next match. They are going for resisted Bullet Seeds, whereas ours are neutral, which is nice. And we do win CMP, which is also nice. And our opponent is not going to shield the first when they go for the Rock Tomb, but we are. I think that's a bit of an interesting play, just because it's going to, like, they're going to have to throw, they're probably going to shield just back just because they can. And they are. So now we're probably just going to let this go. No, we're double shielding. We're really scared of the Credilli seeing our backline. But at this point, this is double debuffed. But we are full sending the Leaf Storm here. We do grab that final shield, which is nice. And I don't believe Rock Tomb will KO. Yeah, Sunflora doesn't have the best bulk, but it still isn't enough to KO. But even if we are able to outpace, we should have at least thrown the Sludge Bomb. It wouldn't have taken out, but it would have been nice to get that chip. Especially because they were going to throw right away either way. That being said, we can now come with the Pelipper. We should be able to throw a Weather Ball in order to knock it out before it gets a Rock Tomb, but unfortunately we hold on to our energy. Does that mean we can get the full farm down? At least we get that. Can we full send a Hurricane? Yes, we can. Now this is single debuffed, so this won't do as much damage, but we are actually able to save our Pelipper for later, which is super nice. And now we're coming in with the mirror match, and this is the advantage of Skull Bash. I would usually recommend Ice Beam in this meta, but having Skull Bash in the mirror is actually huge, and that actually KOs and it drops their it increases our defense. Sorry, and now even though they only farm up to a Sludge Bomb, well, only farm up to a Sludge Bomb, but they farm up all the way to the Sludge Bomb. We actually live that because of our defense rise, and now we're able to go for a Skull Bash and a full sideway farm down. So huge cup. Clutch from Lapras. Jesus, I can't speak. It was a long day at work, okay? But yeah, we are able to clutch that, and we're able to make it take that win. So into the next game now in the 2200. So a bit of a increase in rating there. Gliscopod on the lead. Now this is tricky. Obviously, they will hit for super effective damage with the X-Scissor, and they have a pacing advantage in this matchup. So how are we going to play this out? We're going to full send a Leaf Storm. Okay, are they going to respect this damage? They do. And now we're going to go for a catch on a Pelipper, which is massive, understanding that our opponent was going to throw right away. We catch a resisted X-Scissor. X-Scissor and Aqua Jet would be resisted there, but there's no sense in them going for an Aqua Jet. And they come in with a Lapras, and they actually are able to outpace and get to an Ice Beam before even able to get to a Hurricane, which is unfortunate. So we will go down with some energy, but that allows us to come in with a Sunflora. Ooh, I do not like this bait. Are they going to shield it up? No. And yeah, the opponent has already won switch. There's no really point in baiting there. We're probably just going to let this go. It is another Ice Beam, and we're really hoping in our Lapras to sweep this game. We can just go for the full Sidewave farm down because we know all of their charge moves are resisted, so that is super nice. And then they come back in with this Gliscopod, and this is where Skull Bash comes in handy, connecting against a Gliscopod, gets the knockout, and rises our defense. That is absolutely massive. And it's a Weezing in the back. These Psywaves are absolutely tearing through the Weezing, and we're able to outpace and make it to a Sparkling Aria. They are forced to respect that damage, but now it comes down to a bait. Are they going to full send the Overheat? Are they going to bait with a Sludge or a Brutal Swing? It is just a Sludge, but we throw right away, and our opponent makes an insane catch onto their Lapras. We undercharge. We go for a full Sidewave farm down. Is that enough? They get to a charge move, and because they throw this energy, that means we will get an extra Sidewave through, which means we actually are able to get to the Sparkling Aria, and Sparkling Aria is enough to KO the Weezing. Holy crap, what a game. That was so intense, and it literally came down to your opponent just throwing the charge move. That was crazy. Okay, into the next match. Who do we see here? What do we have on the lead? Tentacruel. Now, this is obviously a terrible lead, but we have two better answers in the back. We're going to stay in this lead, though. We're not even going to get out into a neutral matchup. We're going to stay in a negative matchup. We can live this, so there's no point in shielding it. It is just the Acid Spray. And then we're going to click the move right away, just resisting. Don't want to take any more super effective damage from those poison jabs, but we're able to connect with a Leaf Storm, which is absolutely massive. Our opponent not respecting that damage, and it nearly one-shots Tentacruel. And then they come in with a Mawile, and we come in with our Pelipper. So Pelipper is easily able to take that matchup, and then it's a Shadow Victory Bell in the back. So why did they let their Mawile completely go down there before getting to a charge move? The world may never know, but now this game is virtually over. We have two shields and a Psywave user against a low HP Victory Bell, but we come in with the Sunflora, potentially giving them a win con here, but fortunately our opponent switches out, and that gives us our win con back, and we are able to take that win. What will we see in the next match? So far, Sunflora not really pulling its weight. It has landed one nice Leaf Storm, and that did some very solid damage, but here we go, our first good lead, right as I started talking trash. They come in with a Lapras. Why are we staying in this matchup? Okay, we should definitely be instantly pivoting into our Lapras there. That is an extremely dominant matchup, and because after we connect with the Leaf Storm, we're just going to get a Sidewave farm down either way, and now they can easily punish us with a Cacturne here, which is really unfortunate. We are going to farm up to a potential Ice Beam here, baiting with Sparkling Aria. We do grab that shield from our opponent, and then we're shielding back. I'm not sure I love this play when we have a Pelipper in the back. We don't really need to get off this energy unless we're trying to save the Lapras for later. But yeah, because all that does is that lets our opponent get a full farm down, and they also get the farm down the Sunflora. So unfortunately, we're making a couple mistakes in this game, and it might just cost us because they have so much energy, but we are so lucky that they threw a charge move against our Lapras. That is absolutely massive, because now we should be able to shield this up, fully wing attack farm them down before they're able to make it to a third move, which is absolutely massive. And now we have a great matchup here. We're able to outpace just barely on the CMP tie. Here comes a Hurricane, and it one-shots the Marshtomp, and we're able to take that win. So very close game, and fortunately our opponent made a mistake. Okay, into the next match, we've got Sunflora into Mantine. So this is a bad lead. Are we going to get out? No, we're going to once again stay in this matchup, but they're actually on Bullet Seed. So even though this is a super effective charge move, it's probably just the Aerial Ace, so we can survive one, and they have no ability to farm us down. So we're going to over farm here, play to the CMP tie, go for the Leaf Storm. That connects, and it does huge damage, so we should just let this go. Ooh, I'm not sure I like this shield. We're never going to be able to farm down. And it's a Ferrothorn in the back, and yeah, this game is going to look tough. All of our charge moves are resisted. There's no point in throwing a debuff resisted charge move on Sunflora there. We should just come in with our Pelipper because we need that energy. And we actually are able to make it to a Hurricane, but we're baiting with a Weather Ball. Is the opponent going to respect it? Did they shield that? I couldn't tell if that was a visual glitch or if they just let that go. It looks like they only have one shield remaining, but they try and catch on their Mantine. They're unsuccessful. That lets us get a full wing attack farm down. What is that Pokemon in the back, or are they going to come back in with the Ferrothorn? No, they're going to come in with their Gastrodon in the back. That allows us to get to a Leaf Storm. This will either grab the shield or knock out, and it's a CMP tie. That is absolutely massive. Now we can just come in with Lapras, absorb all this damage. We already have a Hurricane banked for the Ferrothorn when it comes back in, and we should be able to live one charge move here. One Power Whip will not be enough to KO the Lapras. We don't need a chip. We can just snipe and go for the Hurricane. This will do enough damage to KO, and we might even make it to a Weather Ball against this Gastrodon because these Mud Slaps are double resisted, which is huge. And now this game is virtually over. We're basically at a Sparkling Aria. No, sorry, we are already at a Sparkling Aria, and they're not at the Earth Power, so this is an easy cleanup for Lapras, and we're able to take that win. Very nice snipe there with the Pelipper. Will Sunflora pick up a good lead? I don't know. Monograss types, they're having a tough time in this meta. Even with that Sludge Bomb coverage, it's so slow to the pacing. But Greninja, this is a good lead. We can easily eat a Hydro, so they are forced to go for Night Slashes here, and they do. But that does just under 50%, and then, ooh, I'm actually not sure which does more damage, a resisted Leaf Storm or a neutral Sludge Bomb, but we do go for the Sludge Bomb. Ooh, and then we make a beautiful catch onto our Lapras, catching a super effective Sludge, or what would have been a super effective Sludge, onto our Sunflora. Onto our Lapras, and that is massive, but they're actually able to connect when it overheat. We still are able to live that, get the full farm down, and come out with energy, so that is absolutely massive. Our opponent will probably let this go. No, they're going to shield a resisted move and then go for the Night Slash farm down. What to do here? I personally would come in with Pelipper, but you're going to come back in with the Sunflora and then instantly give up switch into your Pelipper to catch a Hydro or a Night Slash, which is kind of interesting because they're going to go for the Night Slash either way. But it is a Lapras in the back. Now this is where it gets tricky because they only have to go for Sparkling Arias because you're already so low, and there's no point in baiting here because your opponent knows they can live one move. And so we do full send, which is nice, and the opponent does no shield, and now we're just gonna let this go. We're gonna get an energy lead onto Sunflora. I really like this play because all we have to do is make it to back-to-back Sludge Bombs, and this game is over. But we're going for a Leaf Storm. We do not need to do that. Back-to-back Sludge Bombs would be enough to KO from this range. And unfortunately, it looks like we try to go for the Sludge Bomb after, but it's not going to be enough. And fortunately, we are still able to somehow outpace the Greninja, make it to another Leaf Storm. That is enough to KO the Greninja, and we're able to take that win. Picking up a 2-3 in that set, so maybe not going up in ELO, but staying around the same, which is nice. Into the next match, we've got Sunflora into Credilli. So we've seen this matchup. We're definitely just going to stay in. Sunflora definitely has the best matchup here versus our two Pokemon in the back. And then just going for Sludge Bomb on CMP with their Rock Tomb. And once again, this opponent lets it go. That is honestly kind of surprising. And you are shielding again. I do not like that because... So the reason I say I do not like that is because one Rock Tomb is not enough to KO. And it's going to debuff your attack. So you know they're going to let the next one go. Or they're just going to match shields, right? And yeah, double shielding, they are never going to be able to Bullet Seed farm you down if they connect with one. I understand going for the Leaf Storm here because now they might, your double debuff, they might not shield. So that's a nice play, but overall I would not double shield my lead there. Because now you have no shield for your Pelipper, and because they got ahead on energy, fortunately they're just on Iron Head, but if they were on Play Rough, that could have been a dangerous situation. But fortunately, unfortunately, they do bank some energy, and they go for the charge move right away. Before you can get to another charge move, you can just come back in with a Sunflora, and now watch. You will be able to eat a Rock Slide here. I mean, I've never played Sunflora, but seeing the damage in these previous matchups, I know it should be able to live one. And you do grab that final shield, which is huge. And look, it's not enough to KO, and they cannot farm you down. So you just stay in this matchup. You go for a Leaf Storm, which they catch on a Weezing, which is unfortunate because this is debuffed. But this is going to give you a huge advantage because now you can just come with Lapras. You can eat any one charge move here. Overheat will hurt, but it will not KO. They actually go for a Sludge, maybe trying to go for two Sludges instead. But you get the full farm down. You come out with 2 Sparkling Arias. You should go for Sparkling Aria here. Maybe you're just BMing, but Skull Bash is resisted, Sparkling Aria is neutral, so definitely just go for Sparkling Aria in that situation. Okay, into the next match. Who do we see here? We've got Sunflora and the Glispods. We've seen this matchup. I would recommend getting out of this matchup or trying to catch an X-Scissor onto your Lapras. Because staying in this matchup, it is kind of a negative matchup. Granted, you can go for Leaf Storm. I would have overfarmed by 1 more Bullet Seed there, but now we're going to go for a catch onto our Lapras after we grab a shield, which is nice because now our opponent might not expect a Shield Bash coming their way. So they're actually going to dump back-to-back charge moves, so that's good because now we know the Gliscod is energy dry, and then they're going to stay in this matchup, understanding that usually most Laprases in this meta are walled by Gliscod, but this one is not. We're able to make it to a Skull Bash, get the knockout, and that rises our defense, allows us to get to a Sparkling Aria against the Mawile before they get the Fire Fang farm down. And now what do we do here? Just come in with the Pelipper, try and go for a wing attack farm down, or are we going to be forced to throw our energy is the question. Ooh, we're going to eat a Play Rough, and then it's a Wheezing in the back, and they outpace us to the Brutal Swing before we're able to make it to our Hurricane. I think at this point, you kind of have to go for back-to-back Weather Ball, and I like this play because they're 100% going to shield at least one. And now we can outpace, make it to a Sludge Bomb. This should grab the final shield from your opponent. The question is, can you make it to a Weather Ball, and will it be enough to KO the Wheezing and also be able to farm down their Pokemon in the back? But they actually catch the Sludge Bomb onto their Mawile. That's actually huge for us because we needed to KO this Pokemon, and now it's about who wins CMP. It's the Pelipper. Of course it's the Pelipper. And is Weather Ball enough to KO from this range? It is. So we're able to grab that win on the back of Pelipper. Absolutely huge play there. Okay, what you got for me, Sunflora? Give me another good lead. We like to see those. We've got Venusaur. Okay, this is a abysmal lead. Sludge Bomb is neutral here. And we are going to go for it right away, but that would be CMP with a Frenzy, but we know we can outpace because Frenzy is resisted. And now we're going for a catch, and they hold onto their energy, and then they come in with a... What? They just came in with a Gastrodon to a Pelipper. Maybe they panicked. I mean, they're ABA weak to Pelipper big time, but holy crap, that is... Gastrodon is not... And they're on Earthquake! What is happening in this game? Anyways, full sending there. Yeah, get that Gastrodon out of there. It's a Lapras in the back, the Pokemon that they should have come in with in the first place. They can just go for a Sparkling Aria. You're low enough. That's exactly what they're going to do. And now we're going to come in with our Sunflora. No, you can't shield that. You have to save 2 shields for Lapras in this situation because you would be able to get a full Psywave farm down. You would just double shield your Lapras, and then you'd come out with back-to-back moves, and they only have one shield left. So you would be in such a good position. But you're lucky that they let that go, and now they let you make it to a Leaf Storm. And at this point, this game should be over because I believe even though you guys' health are around the same health, actually no, sorry, you're full HP, but you also have an energy. No, you don't. This is the first time you're coming in. What am I talking about? Either way, you make it to a Skull Bash. Skull Bash is enough to KO the Lapras. Winning the mirror, hey, that's a benefit of Skull Bash too. And you are able to take that win. So now we're going to look at the very final match of the video. Come on, Sunflora, pick up a good lead. It's a Lapras. We take those. That is a pretty great lead. I would farm up to the Leaf Storm here and then bait with a Sludge Bomb. But, ooh, they come in with a Ferrothorn, and you do not have a great response to a Ferrothorn up energy. Pelipper is your best answer, and they're already able to outpace. Is that enough for a second Power Whip already? It is. That is crazy pacing. And now we're baiting with a Weather Ball. Your opponent has already grabbed a shield from you. They really shouldn't be shielding that. They should be taking that switch. Their lead is not that bad if they can get an energy lead and then come in with Ice Beams, but you're lucky they do, and then they let the second one go, so that's absolutely massive. Now coming with Pelipper, going for the Weather Ball, that is resisted, but at least we get the damage off. And now we have kept alignment, and shields are at shield parity, which is nice. Full sending a Leaf Storm here. I would have baited personally, but they actually try and call the bait, so that was actually a very nice play by you. In comes the Wheezing. We've got a great answer in Lapras in the back. Do they have enough for the Overheat? They do. I probably would have respected that because all their attacks afterwards are debuffed. You'll still live this because this is just a sludge, and it is double debuff at this point, but you do respect the damage. Now you're going to go for a sparkling aria, and you are already at a second sparkling aria, so this will be enough to KO the wheezing, and we are able to take that last win. So yeah, honestly, I think you played most of these matchups pretty well. Definitely just a few things that you could look at that I mentioned during your battles. But overall, very solid plays. I think Sunflora, as interesting as it is, and it's nice that it has coverage into other grasses in this meta, it's ranked like 169 for a reason. It's really bad in this meta. Its pacing is slow, it's glassy, it's a mono grass type, so it has no extra defensive typing. So and even though Leaf Storm is a great move and you pace there all right, I think it needs a better bait move, or just a more consistent lower energy charge move. Like if you had, like, I don't know if it learns these in the main game, but I assume it does, like Weather Ball Fire would even be better than Sludge Bomb in this meta. And then, like, I don't know, if it learns Leaf Blade, that would be crazy, but like maybe something a little bit cheaper. I don't know if you want that nuke on something that's already so glassy. But yeah, that's going to be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.